Comrade, that's how chat is.
Show leadership.
No, it doesn't matter. I don't know if I am saying
Hello.
That's correct. Yes, that's correct, Ayanda. The president just arrived a few minutes ago, and he's been called inside a meeting that's close to the media. Earlier on, we saw the arrival of Minister of Home Affairs, Cyril Ramaphosa, the Premier of the Eastern Cape, of the Western Cape, Alan Winde, the Deputy Minister of International Relations, Mr. Alvin Bose, the Minister of Labour, Thulas Nxesi, and also the Minister of Social Development, Lindiwe Zulu, first making their way arrive, and then they had a brief session with obviously briefing each other about the latest concerning the collapse of the George building. But also, Ayanda, interestingly, late last evening, the correspondent came out from Liatal, which is a developer responsible for this building, and they were saying that, number one, they sympathize with the families that have been affected by this tragedy. They also said that when the tragedy did happen, they did deploy their personnel and resources to assist. They went to further say that it's still early stages at this time to say or comment on what could have happened to cause this tragedy, but saying that they are committing themselves to complying fully with the Department of Labour and other investigators and the SAPS to ensure they get down to the bottom of what happened during that fateful day 9 days ago. This morning, though, interestingly, we also got to speak to the head of disaster here in the Western Cape, Mr. Calvin, and he was just saying that tomorrow they are due to actually hand over all the proceedings of the rescue operations to the SAPS, and the site will then become a crime scene. And he said that right now, in terms of the digging process, they've reached close to the basement level. They also are also aware that they have also heard that apparently it's actually a car inside the building, inside the structure itself, that collapsed, and they want to try to get that car first. I then went to also ask him, is he at this stage thinking there's still bodies inside? And he said there are some dogs that are able to track or give them indication there may still be bodies, by saying tomorrow officially they will hand over that site to the SAPS. But we're also here to speak about the workers, and that's why the Minister of Home Affairs is here to speak about the undocumented foreign nationals that were there, to account for them and to say, how did this happen at this time? And I'm joined this afternoon by a member of the NUM to speak to us briefly about their concerns concerning this incident. Earlier on, you were saying that it's really unfair that at a time where there is so much lack of jobs, especially here in the Western Cape, there are people that are working in a centre which are undocumented, which is one of the gripes that you have as NUM. Masibuleli.
Yeah, thank you very much. Let's first send our condolences at the National Union of Mine Workers to the families and South Africans, even to the Africans that are affected by the incident. But more or less, we wanted to appreciate the visit of the President and the visit of the ministers who are here. But we call upon the President that his visit to come here must make sure that it's bringing justice to the families and justice to Africans. And because the realities that we are raising here, that there are questions more than answers on what happened to the site. There are regulators, there are departments in the government which are regulating on how we work in the site, in the construction. But here, that was not happening. If it was happening in the opposite side. Department of Labour was inspecting the place, but they inspected the place and they find out that the contract, the white-owned contract, that now the owner is disappearing, was not following the permit that was issued to them, which the permit was giving them a work that must be done within a period of 6 months and employ 30 people and less. And when they realized that, the question is that why they did not stop the construction, why the construction continued, and when the building was starting from the foundation and going up, it also realized by the department that the building itself, it goes to a period where it will be more than 6 months, and the permit is talking about 6 months, because here is governing DA, and DA now is quiet, is quietly silent. They are not making noise. If it was in another province, DA or station was going to go all over here and make noise. Now there are no noise now, because it's here at Western Cape where they want to treat this province as if it's another country. We are not going to allow such. There are labor laws here in South Africa of which each and every worker must be abided towards, and every worker is having a right. Is having a right to health and safety by the employer, by himself. So if now we are sitting here, we'll have president visit, where even we don't have records. The contractor here, there's a local municipality, there is district municipality, there is a province, but you are telling us that there is no records for workers who are working there. So it tells you that, and we are told that this white-owned company was not the first contract that they are constructing there. They contracted many other buildings here, and they kill people. And no one exposed those noise. No one make any noise about that.
Thank you,
So
Masibulele.
this is what we are addressing here.
Thank you,
as National Union of Mine Workers.
Thank you so much, Putram.
Thank you.
That was Masibulele from the NUM, Masibulele Mike, Secretary of the NUM, just obviously voicing the concerns of the workers, saying that there's been allegations that many of the workers on site on that day were not documented, and saying that he hopes that the visit of the President, especially the visit of the Minister of Labour, will address such issues as to how did that happen, if it did happen, and also get down above all to the reason what caused that collapse 9 days ago. Let's go back to the studio.
Lerato Fekisi, thanks very much indeed for that update. As you can see, we're keeping a close eye on the situation in George in the Western Cape. As soon as the President speaks, of course, catch it.
Well, we just saw the Western Cape Premier, Alan Winde, make his way out. You can see him in shots now. And he was inside with the Minister of Home Affairs, Mr. Ramaphosa, the Minister of Social Development, the Minister of Labour, and of course with the President, Mr. Cyril Ramaphosa. They were meeting with the officials of the Western Cape government just to get an update as to how far the investigation has gone, which departments have done what, to try to get to the bottom of what happened with the George collapse. So it was a closed meeting, not open to the media. But as you see right now in shot, Mr. Thulas Nxesi, Minister of Labour, is also here, and all the various departments that have been critical in terms of investigation have been here. You'll understand also that the Minister of Human Settlement, Mr. Sigazgalala, is also here, and he was here last week where he announced that this is actually a third-party investigation, and he did state that the Department of Labour, the contracted developer, the project manager are all part of those that will form part of complying or compiling a document that will speak to the investigation of this case. So right now, the Western Cape Premier, Alan Winde, the Minister of Labour, Mr. Thulas Nxesi, the Minister of Home Affairs, Mr. Ramaphosa, are all outside waiting for Mr. Ramaphosa to walk out. Once he's walked out, Nastasia, he's going to actually take a walk, which is about a 10-minute walk from where we are. We're at the Civics, we're at the Jog Centre now. When he comes out, as you see him coming out there, there's some President, Mr. Ramaphosa, walking out after a meeting with the various officials concerning the George collapse. And he's going to take a walk with the members of the media and take a walk to the actual site where the collapse happened. So you'll see in shot now that's the President is making his way out. So you see in shot now that's the President making his way out, and he's going to take a 10-minute walk, like I said, down the street, which is York Street, and is making his way down. Ultimately, he's going to the site where the tragedy happened 10 days ago. So you see there is Mr. President Ramaphosa. They're greeting some members of the public that have been here, members of the ANC, showing their love and support to their president. And he's obviously now walking with the various officials, both from the Western Cape government and also officials from the Department of Labour and the Department of Human Settlement as well, who, like I said, are part of the third-party investigation that's taking place. So you see in shot that is President Ramaphosa, and obviously walking down the street, and as he's walking, greeting everyone who's excited to see the President here, and using this opportunity to greet him, send their love to him as he makes his way. But ultimately where we are going, like I said, is the site where the collapse took place, and that's where we're walking to right now. We're working our way down. It's about a 10-minute walk. We're not too far now, but he's working his way there, and that's where we are going right now. So you see them in short. That's the President speaking to.
We can have a word with her as well, just to find out regards to market and social development.
That's the President walking down. Let us now just speak quickly to the Minister of Social Development, who's also here, and find out her views.
Many of them are undocumented, which therefore means they were here probably and do not have documents of IDs. That's the most painful part for us, because we believe that employers must at all times do the right thing. They shouldn't be employing people who we cannot have fingerprints of, we don't have documents of, we have absolutely nothing. Because when a disaster like this happens, we find those that had IDs, it's quick for us to find their families, but the ones who are undocumented, it's hard to find. This actually just points to us for the need for South Africa and private sector business in particular to do the right thing by the law. When Minister Mtshwaledi says this is almost...
Well, that was the Minister of Social Development, Mr. Zulu, just speaking about the issue of a lack of documentation of some of those that are on the site, and saying that such things cannot happen because it can't be at a time where such things happen and people have not been properly documented. Like I said, the investigation continues, and they're going to try and see the various departments who are part of this mitigation are going to try and see what they can do to come to the bottom of this and to ensure that those that have been held reliable for the scene are brought to book. As you see in shot, that's the President Cyril Ramaphosa still making his way down. We are close to where the site took place, so making our way there now. Let me also see if I can just have a conversation with the spokesperson of the presidency, just to perhaps get some feedback in terms of how things went. So from the SABC, just a feedback on how the meeting went. You're happy with the outcome so far?
Sorry?
Just a feedback on how the meeting went and you're happy with the outcomes so far?
Well, the president is satisfied with the overall disaster response, and the president takes to heart the manner in which different levels of government and entities have come to work together collaboratively. Sections of the community have come to assist. It really shows that during times of difficulty and challenges, South Africans are able to come together and work together to resolve whatever challenge that confronts them. And so we're delighted and satisfied with how this disaster was responded to. And all that has to happen now is for us to allow the various investigations that are currently underway to run their course. And we will know at the conclusion of those investigations what really happened and what transpired. But the president was given a full picture of what happened and the manner in which the disaster was responded to.
So there's been a cry that the investigation be speeded up. Is that something the president is going to also put forward?
You have a number of investigations that are going to run simultaneously. And so when people say the investigations must be speeded up, what exactly does that mean? It shouldn't mean that the investigations must be interfered with. We must allow the investigations to run their natural course. And allow experts in various areas of these investigations to do their work.
Well, that was a spokesperson in the office of the president, just saying that the president is overall happy with the feedback that he has got from the meeting and is going to ensure that investigation does carry on and carries on timelessly to get to the bottom of this. You'll see in shot right now some of the residents that also have come out, obviously excited to see their president. So that is the president in shot right now there, and is going to make his way now to the site where the building collapse took place. And in the background, the people that you hear cheering are residents from George, who obviously are excited to see the president here in George, and took this opportunity to come out and also send their greetings to him as well. We are literally a few seconds away now from the site. We're making our way there, where the president will be given an oversight by the head of disaster, and also the MEC of local government is formed part of that as well. They will show him the actual site and give him a brief over the work that's been done there. I think also a great opportunity for him to meet some of the rescue personnel who have been working tirelessly to recover bodies and are obviously the true heroes of the story.
Good afternoon.
Cyril Ramaphosa. Hi, President.
Colin Dana, Head of Disaster Management in the Western Cape.
President, we can show you just around what we've been doing. So if you'd like to step just out of through to
These
here.
people will allow me to step forward.
And perhaps also, Mr. President, that Mr. Dana can show you.
The president just asking that he be given a way to make his way to the actual site. That was the head of disaster in the Western Cape. Colin Diner, and he was also joined by the MEC of Local Development, Mr. Alan Bridle, just saying that they allow the president to now go into the site itself, where he's going to be given an oversight visit, and obviously the media not allowed to go past there, but our cameras will try and show you as much as we can of him at the actual site. And what you see in shot right now is the actual site and the president making his way there as well.
Found coming here, we could actually hear quite a lot of people trapped. We could actually hear them speaking to us. So we marked those areas, and then we started working with our concrete breakers, search equipment, the police's dogs, and we were able to pinpoint people. And then the operation was then to literally break through the concrete. As we got to people, we released them. The emergency medical services was here. The police's forensic people were here as well, and the health people. And then what we did was we removed the victims as they came along. By 18 hours into the operation, which was on the Tuesday afternoon, we'd actually recovered 4 people who were trapped just right across from here behind this TLB. They were actually in a basement. All 4 of them were still alive. So they were the last live people we had up to that point. So we normally, with an operation like this, we decide when do we go over to recovery, because if you've got 5 stories collapsing, it's quite a big thing. So what we then did was we decided to continue looking for live people, because we thought that the area had quite a few openings, and we started searching for the openings. On Saturday morning, we found just late morning, the police dogs indicated to us an area where we heard somebody. We shouted down there, the person shouted back, and then we put teams on top. We broke the concrete open, and then we have a technical listening device which can actually pinpoint where somebody is injured. We asked the person to tap, they tapped back, and then we were able to pinpoint him, and we got him out after 118 hours. Gabriel, that's right. Yes. Up to, I'm not sure, I don't know if he's 32. So he was actually in quite good shape. We were concerned initially because of the period of entrapment. So up to now, we've rescued live 29 people. Unfortunately, we've lost people, but the people that we have recovered have had severe injuries. So it wasn't a case of them, actually lying there and us not being able to get to them. I think it's been, for me, the wonderful thing has been the cooperation. It's been the George municipality, the municipal services around here, the province, and the national, specifically SABC, were really, really good there with their rescue teams and their canines. So the operation now, what we've done is we've started delayering the building, which basically means we are now lifting the concrete slabs off each other. So it's a very careful job, because we're working with huge machinery very close to potentially where people can be. And so that's something that we're really working on very hard. So what we're trying to do now is open up an area. We then drill holes in there, and then we put the dogs on. If they indicate that they found somebody, we will then treat that area quite carefully, put cameras in, try and pinpoint where the victim is, remove the victim. We then give the forensic pathology services a chance to process that, and then we continue. We believe that we will have the last slab lifted by about tomorrow evening, and then we will then be handing the scene over for the final investigations. Thank you, sir. I'm not sure if you want to see anything further or...
It's possible.
Guys, can you just move to the side, please?
Just no media behind this point, Colin.
Yeah,
just
sure.
no media behind this point.
Yeah. So this is Niels Barnard, he's the fire chief of George. He was the incident commander, and from the Department of Health, Richard Wood. He's also one of the commanders. Thanks, guys. Guys, can you just move to the side there, please? Our challenge we have at the moment is the walls of the basement. We just need to make sure that we don't have them collapsing inwards.
Yes.
So we brought all the sand in here now to back up against the walls.
Yes.
Because people have to do a lot of work in there.
Yes.
And then just over the side here is where we are busy excavating the last 2 floors to be able to then make sure that we've got nobody left in the scene.
But we still have a few people missing.
The way that worked is we asked the developer and all the subcontractors and the survivors to give us numbers of how many people were working where.
Yes.
And they gave us 81 numbers. So that's what we've been working on in terms of numbers. It's not an exact science, obviously. So, but we are using that as our reference point. So we do believe we are, we're closing in on everything. So
yes.
we're not seeing much more victims, and the dogs aren't indicating, but we'll still continue.
Yeah. So there could be some inaccuracies somewhere along the way.
Absolutely. We believe that could be a win.
Figures could be exaggerated.
Exactly, President. Yeah. I think the thing is we're not sure, obviously, of, there's no registers kept or anything like that. That's the problem. So. Right, and these are obviously the teams that have been working since... Thank you.
This side, we could do them a picture. The president.
The machinery is off, so President can go through.
All right.
Yeah, I want to shake their hand.
Okay, we must stop the people here. No.
Well, we have been barred from going that side now, but what you see in shot right now is the President, Cyril Ramaphosa, making his way to the site. This is the closest we've been allowed ever to be at the site, but it is now, he's also getting a chance now. You'll see in shot right now, he gets to meet the rescue personnel. I can imagine what a joy that must be for them to say very well done and a job well done. They have been working tirelessly. This is now day 10. Night shifts coming in at night, coming out in the morning, working tirelessly to rescue bodies, to ensure that they rescue as many bodies as possible. They're really excited when they do rescue someone who is alive, but I think this moment for the rescue workers does mean a lot, because the first time that the head of state comes to them and someone comes and says congratulations for the work that you've done, a selfless job they have as rescue workers and firefighters, but today they get a chance to be greeted by the president, and he's shaking their hands right now and saying well done for the job they have done tirelessly over the past 10 days to try and save as many lives as possible and also take out those that have deceased. And you can understand Hi. Yes, I can now. Just say that again. I can't hear you now. Uchi's getting the camera mic and my mic on Okay, sure. We'll just stand down now. Okay, he's coming out and now he's going to walk towards the family members that have been affected in the hall. Yeah, you can come to me. Yeah, he's walking out now.
Check the label.
A very good afternoon. We are now walking towards the community centre where the President is going to meet with affected families and also conduct a wreath-laying ceremony. A few minutes ago he met, I guess, the heroes of the story, the rescue workers, the firefighters, who actually went and greeted and said, well done for the work that you have done. You'd understand that the work they've been doing is a very thankless job, but such dedication being shown holistically from everyone in terms of disaster management in George, everyone coming together, SAPS, everyone come together to try see how they can all jointly work together to try and number one, get as many people out of the rubble. And you're also aware that 33 people are deceased and still 19 unaccounted for, but the President's still saying, you know what, he really does congratulate them for the work that has been done. So as you see now, we are making our way to the Civic Centre, which is the place where most of the families have been accommodated for the past 9 days, been given meals by Gift of the Givers, and been taken care of really in terms of making sure they're able to identify their loved ones. Traumatic at the same time for those who are still waiting to identify their loved ones. The body is very much decomposed, so the issue of identification has been an issue, but they have conducted DNA samples, blood testing, used things such as scars and tattoos to try see how family members can best identify their loved ones. But like I said, we are making our way now to the Civic Centre where the President is going to meet the affected families, obviously offer their condolences, and also the families want to speak to him as well, because yesterday when we were speaking to some of the affected families, they were saying that they have a lot of questions to ask their President. They have a lot of stuff that they feel needs to be answered in terms of compensation, in terms of who's now going to help them to take their loved ones back to the various foreign countries. You understand that most of those that worked on site on that tragic day are foreign nationals, a large contingency of them coming from Malawi, Mozambique, Zimbabwe, and the question now is who is going to financially assist to transport those bodies back to their homes, because like anyone, you want to bury your loved one in their place of birth. So those are some of the questions that are going to come up, I can imagine, from those inside the hall, the families that have been waiting anxiously to say, President, in terms of compensation, what is the government committing? You will also remember that during the week, the Deputy Minister of International Relations, Alvis Boerts, did say that he's reaching out to the community to do that, but the call has also come that perhaps the developer should be the one that compensates those that have passed on, the families of those that have passed on in this tragedy. So that is the President you see in shot now, making his way inside the Civic Centre, like I said, the place where most of the family members that have been affected by this tragedy have been housed for the past 9 days, been given a special care by various community members and community groups, and as well as Gift of the Givers. So we're making our way now inside the centre where the President will meet the family. Step, where he'll meet the family and get to interact with them, and also get a chance to hear some of their views and their concerns concerning this case. So we're making our way inside the centre now. As you can see, the President will shortly come in, and the foreign nationals and all those affected are currently seated, awaiting the President. We'll just turn around now and show you a shot of the hall itself. That's the hall where all the people from various countries are currently sitting. There's Malawians, Zimbabweans, Mozambicans, and everyone here, not really, I wouldn't really call it excited per se, I would say maybe anxious to hear what the President is going to say to them, and above all, like I said, what compensation is going to be done by government to assist the many families who are now, many of them have no answers, many of them have no way forward in terms of how do they transport their loved ones' bodies back to Zimbabwe. You see in shot there, President Ramaphosa making his way. He's now inside the hall and is making his way inside the sentence of, and everyone that is seated here are families that have been affected. That's the President Cyril Ramaphosa making his way inside, where he's going to address the affected families of those that have lost loved ones in this really bad tragedy. He's obviously joined by the Western Cape Premier, Mr. Alan Winde, a key part in this investigation as well, as part of George. And we'll hear shortly an address by the President.
Stick to our plan and we got to the meeting. Yeah. But the President will not stand up.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Mama. Subhanallah. Mama, Hisumoy. Xolo kakhulu. Bengicela ukuba sihlaliseke. Sizoqala ngomsebenzi wethu omfushane. Can we all get seated? We have got a very short program. A very short program. Some faces you know, some you don't. I'm going to do just a quick introduction. I'm trying to give you time to settle a bit.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much. My name is Tembinga Demi, Minister of Cooperative Governments and Traditional Affairs. I'm accompanied by the Executive Mayor of the district on my extreme right, Deputy Minister Alvin Botes from our International Relations Department, Premier Alan Winde, you've seen him so many times we've been here, Minister Lindiwe Zulu, the Executive Mayor and the MEC, you've also seen them almost every day. We are not going to take much time. We also are accompanied by our diplomatic corps representative from Zimbabwe, Malawi, and Mozambique. They've joined the President to come and interact and check on how are you as families. Honorable President, this is the opportunity. These are family members. Some have been requested just to come to have an engagement with you. They already have reports in terms of the coding of what happened to their loved ones. Some are still, like all of us, patiently waiting in hope and in prayer that we will find the outcome as the work you have seen is still continuing. With your permission, President, I'm advised that we opened in prayer.
Yeah, please.
I'm not sure if I have any volunteer. Premier, Executive Mayor, rather.
Let us bow our heads. Heavenly Father, in the name of Jesus, we pray, my Lord, that whatever will happen in here, that God's will be done. Heavenly Father, we know that some of us are in pain, some of us need good news, my Lord, but Heavenly Father, we pray that the Holy Spirit will comfort us as it is mentioned in the scriptures. And Heavenly Father, we also believe that those who are bereaved shall be comforted by the Holy Spirit. Thank you. Amen.
Thank you very much, Executive Mayor, Honorable President.
Thank you, Minister. I extend my greetings to all of you who are families, friends, to the loved ones
that have lost their lives here in this site of this disaster. And for those who have others who are still in hospital, going through the recovery following this catastrophic disaster. I'd like to thank the Minister, the Premier and Minister Zulu, the Executive Mayor, the MEC, Deputy Minister Alvain Borges, Minister of International Relations and Cooperation, and all the officials who are here present. Earlier, I had the occasion to be briefed by the Minister of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs and the Premier of the Western Cape, Alan Winde, and other ministers who have had to rush off to do other work, Minister of Home Affairs, Minister of Public Works and Infrastructure, and Minister of Employment and Labour. They were in the earlier briefing. And I got extensive briefing on what happened here, and also the efforts that have been made since the disaster descended on all of us. Up till now, the various people, officials, as well as ordinary people from around here and various organizations that have come out to help. Organizations like the Lions Club, the Gift of the Givers, and another one. Just ordinary citizens of George who have come out in their large numbers to come and lend assistance. And of course, you are the people seated here who are in grief. You have lost your loved ones. And I did think that it would be a good idea for me to come here and give you words of comfort and to pass on our collective condolences. Condolences from the national government, from me, myself as president, from all that I work with, ministers who've been coming here in their large numbers, at the provincial level, our premier. He and I spoke soon after this disaster happened, and he explained to me the efforts that have been made and that are underway to deal with this disaster. Minister Kadimeng, who is overall in charge of our disaster efforts, made sure that everything is immediately attended to within 2 hours of this collapse of this building. And I'd like to also thank the representatives of the various countries, of the people who have passed on or were in hospital. We've had here people who came from Malawi, who come from Zimbabwe, come from Mozambique, come from Lesotho. This is the community of the Southern African Development Cooperation, SADC, which is represented here. And I think we've really been blessed to have the ambassadors and the consul generals here just to come to be part of this process and to engage with our government. And our government has been engaged in this at all levels, national, provincial, and local. And this is where we have seen how our government in South Africa works and functions. In times of disaster, and of course in other times, we work as one unit. and we call that intergovernmental cooperation, and we call this the district development model, where all entities work together. We've also had other agencies of government. The Human Rights Commission has also been present, looking through everything that's happened. We've had other organizations such as SALGA, which is the organization of our local governments. We've been fortunate to have religious organizations that have been part of this whole process, and other relief organizations as well. So here, soon after this disaster happened, which I call a catastrophe, where we're looking at many people losing their lives more at one go, this is where working together has really come to the fore, and where we've decided very clearly, because of the exigency of the situation, that we are going to focus on saving lives, those who are still alive, who need to be saved, caring for the injured, making sure that the remains of those who have lost their lives are well put together so that those who need to be repatriated can be repatriated. Those who need to be buried here can also be buried here. But also, more importantly, we felt that the bereaved families, those who are friends and relatives of those who have left this world, should also be treated with great compassion. We should also make sure that the wounds that they now have are taken care of. And we know that many of you are in grief. There's no worse grief than people who have lost their loved ones. And when one is going through grief, the challenges that come through are enormous, are quite huge, and we are here to give comfort, and there will be a need for psychoanalysis and support, and when that is the case, we will have people who will give that support, who will give that help. Yes, there will be assistance for those who are in hospital to be well treated. There will be assistance for those who have to be buried. Yes, there will also be compensation that will have to go through the various channels of our various institutions, so that because this was a work situation, everything has to be looked at to see the extent to which compensation that can be made available is made available. So I want you to be rest assured that we are going to do everything we can to make the situation a lot better and a lot easier. We don't want to increase the burden and the suffering and the grief that you are all going through. We want to be there as government at all levels to demonstrate our compassion. We are a government that has compassion, that is on the side of the suffering at all times. And where we have shortcomings, where, for instance, people who are in grief feel that there are certain areas that we are not paying due attention to, we'd like you to come forward so that that can be discussed, because we want to be the balm, we want to be the ointment of the wound that you are feeling and going through. So we are here as government, and not just to grab any headlines, We are here as government to give assistance. I felt that following the real evidence that was coming through about this disaster, that I should come. I should come to hear from those who have been involved from day one what exactly happened and how they are dealing with it. And I felt that I should also come and meet you face to face, those of you who are going through this challenge. And for those who may not well understand the language I'm speaking in, it is because I know that there are people from various countries, and English would be the best that you can all hear. Now, I must tell you that the explanations that I received have been so clear and so thorough from people who know their work, who are professionals, who have been busy devoting time and energy since this disaster happened. Many of them, I'm told, have not even slept for days, just dealing with this. And if they have rested, they've just rested for 2 hours, either to grab something to eat, to drink water, and they've been busy with their various implements, be it dogs, to find out if there's still life, with their big machines, carefully directing those machines, just to try and see whether they can still recover anybody who is alive. They've dedicated themselves, and we've had people from all disciplines, from rescue, from fire, from bomb disposal, because they are very good at doing that, from health, from the forensic area, from the police, from employment and labor, from home affairs, from public works and infrastructure, yes, from the Department of International Cooperation as well. So all sectors of government that are related to this have been here. The Premier through the various departments has made sure that the best of disciplines are deployed to deal with this. We recently dealt with another big disaster where we lost 45 lives, people from Botswana who were traveling by bus from Botswana to go to a church function in Limpopo. And that too was so well handled with good cooperation between the government of Botswana and the government of South Africa, and all levels of government, national, provincial, and local, participated in making sure that it is well handled. Our forensic department also proved that they have great capability, because they had to deal with people or bodies that had burned beyond recognition. They were able to piece all that together, matching the tissues with those who are still alive from the families of those who departed. I became more than convinced that our government is able to deal with enormous disasters. Coming here, I've proven it once again, that the capability of our government entities is second to none. They have shown me once again that they are able to deal with calamities, with disasters, with a great deal of dedication, of compassion, of great feeling for those who are bereaved, of great care, and also of great love. So I've become very convinced that this disaster is being well managed, and it will continue to be well managed until everything is put to rest. It will take some time for all aspects of this disaster are properly tied together. Whether it is the cause of the disaster, whether it is examining precisely who is responsible and who should be held responsible, whether it is all various aspects that have to do with safety, the regulations and everything. So all those issues are still going to be properly and carefully examined. And I do now plead for patience. I know all of you who are bereaved would like immediate solutions, immediate answers to your questions. And I can say to you, all the officials that are dealing with this matter, from ministers, the premier, and key officials, are going to be very transparent as they should be, to be able to give out the information that is available as the process comes through. We are a transparent government. We are able to reveal everything as it should be revealed. So with that, I plead with you that let's have a level of patience. I know it is difficult. It is very difficult for those who have lost their loved ones to have that level of patience. But because this matter is being handled as openly as possible and with a great deal of commitment and dedication, I do plead that let's handle it in that way. For me, it's sad to see all of you gathered here. I'm filled with sadness, but at the same time, I want to give you the assurance that we are going to handle this as well as we should, which is precisely what we are doing collectively. That is what I came here to make sure that it happens as we want it to happen as the government of the Republic of South Africa. So I say thank you for representatives of governments, of those who are foreign nationals who had come here to work. And I say thank you to my ministers, I say thank you to my premier, and I say thank you to all of you who have been involved as officials in this disaster, in whatever role you have played. The police, the health people, the DERCO people, and all of you. I say thank you very much for your work and your contribution. With those words, I'd like now to thank you all and say, may God be with you. May God continue to put his hand on your shoulder, so that as you go through this dark valley in your life, you should continue feeling his presence, and you should continue feeling him walking with you. So thank you very much, and strength to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, President Siyabulela, ngokuba khona kwenu nonke. Sibheka emthandazweni. We remain here
happy where you are? SABC, you happy where you are with ngicela nithule.
Had the privilege of meeting the various people who've been involved in rescue and dealing with all aspects of this disaster, from the Minister of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs, who's largely responsible for national disaster management, apart from all else she does, as well as the Premier of our province, who soon after this disaster happened called me and informed me about everything that they were doing from the province point of view. So I've had a very extensive briefing this morning from all officials who are dealing with this matter, from the Premier, from the Minister, from Department of Employment and Labour, Department of Public Works and Infrastructure, the police, the health and international relations. So it's been a very broad briefing, also from the disaster, people who are dealing with everything that has to do with rescuing people, retrieving the remains of those who have departed from this world. I've been very, very impressed with the extent of the work that they have been doing. They've been doing focused work, intensive work, on an ongoing basis. And we also had the Human Rights Commission amongst us. And I've been also very pleased with the work that's being done by non-governmental organizations that have been involved in this, from the Lions Club, from the Gift of the Givers, and for others who deal with food distribution. But more importantly, I've also been really pleased with the response of ordinary South Africans who have come out in their hundreds to come and give assistance. Also with the various other colleagues in government, like social workers, who have been giving comfort to those who have lost their loved ones. I've just had a meeting now with the families of those who have lost their loved ones, and some of whom are still in hospital. It's been a very sad moment to be able to talk to them, to try and give them strength and support. We've assured them that the government will do everything that we can, working with various other organizations to try and make the situation a lot easier for them, to give them comfort, to give them support throughout all this. And we pass our condolences to all of them who have lost their loved ones. So much as this is a really sad moment where a big catastrophe has befallen our people here in George, my heart has been lightened up by the effort that is going into dealing with this. The professionalism, the capability, and the knowledge that many of the people who are involved in this have displayed during the briefing. So I'm satisfied that as South Africa we are able to deal with disasters and deal with them in the most effective way and pull out all stops to deal with this. So thank you very much for being here, and I think I've covered every aspect of the questions that you don't want to ask.
President Mr. President, I think South Africans as well as the families are really looking for accountability in this matter. Where are we with the investigations and the communication with the countries that you mentioned inside?
Well, firstly, we are communicating with the various countries from whence the people who have passed on have come from. And we are fortunate to have representatives of the various governments from Malawi, from Zimbabwe, from Mozambique and Lesotho. So they were on site as the briefing was taking place, and we've been communicating with their governments on an ongoing basis. With regard to the issue of accountability, and of course there must be accountability, so investigations are underway, and they are going to cover every aspect that has given rise to this disaster. So we will make sure that we leave no stone unturned, and where there has to be accountability, it will be there. And the good thing is that everything is being done according to the book. It's being done according not only to our constitution, but it is also being done according to the laws and the regulations from national, provincial, as well as at the local level. Permitting systems and all those processes are being closely looked into. It will take some time to really fathom everything and go to the bottom, but I can assure you that the seriousness with which this matter is being given attention will lead to the truth coming out.
From the Herald, I just want to find out from you on you assisting the deceased with transportation to their countries. Are you going to be coming forth and maybe assisting with that? We have had organizations saying that their families are worried that they won't be able to get the funds. And also with regards to documentation, all the foreigners who are working in the construction company have documents to be here in South Africa, and wouldn't that in any way affect them in the compensation process?
Well, all those matters about documentation and so forth are matters that are going to be looked at very closely. Some who had documentation, the documentation is under the rubble now, and some may not have had documentation, and all that is going to be properly investigated. So it is part of the investigation process. When it comes, for instance, to repatriation, we are fortunate that we've got a number of organizations in our country that have come forward to say that we will work with government and we will want to support the work that will be done by both the South African government and the governments of the foreign nationals who have lost their lives. And they have also said that they will contribute and help with the repatriation. So we are fortunate in that regard, and members of the families of the deceased need not worry. And when it comes to issues like compensation, those are matters that will come out through the investigation that is going to take place. Too early to be talking about that because the matter still needs to be properly negotiated. Now we are dealing with issues of grief, issues of supporting those who have lost their loved ones.
Last question, Newsroom.
President Sipa Kema from Newsroom Africa. I just wanted to check in terms of preventing this from happening again. It seems as though there might be a gap that's allowing private entities or those that are building in the private establishment to actually not go through the system, such as not being registered with the CIBD. And I know that I believe there is a bill currently waiting to be amended so that they can regulate the industry. But it seems as though the regulation between private and public is a problem that is allowing the private contractors to slip through.
Well, what has happened here in large measure is a disaster that we would never have wanted to see happening. And obviously there must have been lapses here and there. And in many ways, this is like a wake-up call so that we ensure that this never happens again. The Minister of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs has been saying from their point of view as an entity that manages national disasters, they would like to see less and less disasters, and we must be more preventative. And being more preventative means that we must learn a lot of lessons from what has happened here, so that we must get to a point where we say never again should we ever go through something as disastrous as this.
Thank you,
so
ladies
thank you
and
very
gentlemen.
much.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Wonderful. Bye, guys.
President, there's
that Michelle was President Cyril Ramaphosa, of course, just addressing the media after speaking.
That was President Cyril Ramaphosa just obviously addressing the media. After that, he met with various families that have been affected. He also spoke largely about the importance of understanding that the case is still at a very primitive stage, that investigations are still going on, and also showing the family that in terms of compensation, the families are going to be compensation, because for a long time the families have been asking, what is the government going to do to compensate the families? So the President Ramaphosa just assuring them that compensation will be done, they will be given funds to assist them to take their families back home, and also saying also in terms of social services support, they're going to receive counseling for those that have lost loved ones, and also lastly saying that they want to also make sure that there's a level playing ground in terms of the amendment bill of the CIBD going to be instituted very soon. And if you see in short right now, it is President Ramaphosa also congratulating the Gift of the Givers for the work that they have done to ensure that the Gift of the Givers are also congratulated for the work that they have done. From last week Monday up until now, they've been giving food, mattresses, sheets, pillows, toiletries, making sure that the people here are taken care of, majority of whom are coming from foreign countries. So this is then the President just speaking to members of the Gift of the Givers who have played such a humanitarian role, bringing the human element to the story by providing meals, 3 meals a day to every single person who came here, whether media, whether you are part of the people of the rescue operators. So just thanking them and saying thank you so much for the work they've done. And right now, the president is meeting the different delegations, the different countries. You know, the people that have been here, have been affected, are from Malawi, from Zimbabwe, from Mozambique. So the president right now is greeting the different representatives from the different countries. They've also played a critical role in terms of partnering with South Africa to ensure that those that still need to take their families back home, the various countries, are able to travel safely back home. Yes. As you see in shot right now, President Ramaphosa just greeting all the people that are here, obviously various members of the community coming out in their numbers. Now just moving to the crowds just to greet them and send. So he's just now walking, going a bit forward, going to go and greet some of the committee members that are here. So you see in shot now, that is the president making his way to the various community members who have been waiting for hours just to get a shot of the president, also get a chance just to greet him. So he's making his way now to the community members who have been here in their numbers to come and greet and say hi to the president who has been here addressing the affected family members of this disaster. So that's the president now greeting all the various people that are here, community members that are here just to greet the president.
Wonderful. How are you? Good to see you.
Thank you, President. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Well, that is the president making his way down. Various community members obviously overjoyed and excited to see him. And that is the president now making his way, greeting all the various people that are here, who are here to obviously show their love and support to the president who's here in George, not really to meet the community members, but to meet the families that have been affected by this tragedy. He's now making his way. There are thousands of people who have come out from the George community, both locals and foreigners, who have come out to say they are here to just to greet the president and excited to see that he's in their town. So that was President Ramaphosa just walking through, just to greet the various members of the community that are here, who have come just to obviously see the president for themselves. It looks like now he will officially leave. He's getting into his car, obviously just signing off with Western Cape Premier Alan Winde, and this obviously marked the end of the president's visit to George. He'll now head off after meeting the various ministers who are part of the third-party investigation in this case. And that's it from George. The President Cyril Ramaphosa has come. He's been here better part of this morning, first meeting up with various ministers and also officials from the Western Cape Department, just to get a proper investigation done in terms, and also feedback, I guess, from the various departments to what they have done to get the bottom of this case, and reassuring the media now that the case is still at a primitive stage. It's still too early to state now who is to blame, who is going to take account, but saying that it's all hands on deck right now in terms of SAPS, the rescue personnel, the ministers, to ensure that jointly they try come to terms and accountability and bring this matter to book. This is to go back to you guys in the studio.